Most modern men are not masculine. There is a knowledge gap, there are bad role models, and there are serious health problems that are making the men of the Western world weak, lost, and insecure. But there is a way out. A lot of it starts with the basics. What makes a man masculine? Well, throughout this video, I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about masculine attributes. I'm going to break down 3 key points. Number 1, why modern men are not masculine. Secondly, I'm going to go through 9 specific qualities and attributes and characteristics that define masculinity so that you can pinpoint where you are at in your life, what mistakes you are making, what you can improve on, what you should continue to do so you can self-assess. And even if a woman is watching this video and you start courting a guy, dating him, or you're with a man for a long time and your man's messing up, you can even send this video to him to encourage him to be a little bit better in his relationship with you. So ultimately, the information in this video for the men listening, it's going to improve the quality of your relationships, whether you've just started dating a girl, whether you are in a relationship, engaged, married, or even if you are single and you're preparing to meet a woman and you're willing to learn a little bit more so that you can be an amazing husband in the future. That is what you're going to learn in this video. And at the very end, I'm also going to give you information on how you can determine if you're masculine based on the relationships you're in, based on the feedback you are getting from other people, from your environment. With that said, let's dive right into it. And for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. My name is Christian and I teach men to master relationships righteously, how to prepare to marriage so that you can find an amazing woman that is suitable for you to marry. And if you'd like to learn more about what I do, the links are all down below in the description to my community, course, my book, and even my personal email if you'd like to reach out to me. Now, for those of you who are long-term subscribers, welcome back. Happy to see you all here and enjoy. So let's start this off with the Bible verse. Genesis 1:27 tells us at the very beginning that God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female created he them. It makes it very clear that there is male and female. There is no such thing as a masculine man with 10% of femininity sprinkled on, or a woman that's 75% feminine and she's different, she's a masculine woman. That is unnatural. And it goes completely against the order in which God made us biologically, physically, spiritually. It's not right. As a man, you are designed and you are meant to be masculine entirely, through and through. There shouldn't be an ounce or a shred or a drop of femininity in you. Masculine and feminine qualities are very different, but they are complementary. Us men need women and the ladies need men. And you come together and you build an amazing life. That's what makes societies flourish. But in this specific video, we're starting with you men. Masculine qualities, masculine attributes. What makes a man a man? Okay? So let's start with an introduction to this. Why modern men are not masculine? The reason why some men appear to be more feminine in one instance is primarily due to feminine influence growing up in their environment, at school and at home. An absent or weak father figure, a lack of masculine presence in their early years is what causes some boys to develop feminine traits and mannerisms. It is unnatural. Single mothers can also play a role in raising soft, effeminate sons because they never had a father to teach them about manliness. Other factors can be domineering mothers, dysfunctional family with no order, a weak father figure who's just, lets it all happen with no traditional structure. A boy who grows up without healthy male role models will not develop his maleness and instead will adhere to feminine traits as a supplement. This is unnatural for a man and damaging to his self-esteem and inner masculine core. This is why the average man is depressed, emasculated, and weak. Boys who are not taught to be courageous and strong grow up to be cowardly, emotionally withdrawn, and insecure. Very few men are educated on what it takes to be leaders, fathers, and husbands, which is why they become angry, bitter, and resentful at women and the world when their lustful mindset does not bear any fruit in their lives. Also, have to highlight this in red because it's important, Low testosterone levels and hormone imbalance also has a major role in emasculating men. Good gentlemen, if your health is messed up, you are undereating, you are consuming food, junk food, foods that are really bad for you, you're damaging your hormonal profile, your brain health, your gut health, your thyroid, your liver, you name it. You are destroying your metabolism. Your health goes down the pan. Your mental state gets ruined. Your fertility drops. This destabilizes you on a biological level, and you are less masculine. You limit yourself. So fixing your health is a big thing. And we see this now with sperm counts dropping in men, low fertility, lower testosterone levels than ever before. Men have become so soft and weak. I mean, you look at the average guy's face now, they look unattractive and pudgy, bloated, inflamed from PUFAs, seed oils, right? There's no structure, there's no sharpness in their hormones anymore. They're just weak. All of this contributes to making modern men less masculine. But the good news is, a lot of this can be fixed. It's not your fault if you come from a broken home, but it is your fault, the family that comes from you. It's not your fault if you were raised on eating the wrong foods and not learning about health. You can learn, fill in your knowledge gap, and move forward and make better decisions. I understand most people know the boomer parent line. Most modern parents, they raise their kids like this. Go to school, get a job. I'm your father, what can I teach you? And the dad sits down, puts the TV on, watches a movie or his football game, and just disconnects from his family life. And then the children, the boys, are looking for that heroism. They're looking for that, for a role model, someone to look up to outside of the father who was weak. And they get misled by degenerates online like Andrew Tate and other terrible role models for men. No different than the young women. They have terrible role models for women that are not good wives, not good mothers, and they don't know where to turn. So a lot of the youth is being misled. This starts and ends in the home, and it starts and ends with you. For those of you who are watching, who are going to be a husband, you're going to be a father, or maybe you already are one, destiny lies in the hands of men. So, those are some of the main reasons why modern men are not masculine. If you had any more, you can add them in the comment section. But now we're going to get into the actual qualities that make a man masculine. There are 9. Masculine men meant to be rational, dominant, interdependent, goal-oriented, competitive, direct, protective, leaders, providers. Let's break this down. Let's start from the beginning. Being rational. This equals to linear and logical thinking and behavior. Part of you being a masculine man is that you are very clocked into your environment. You have a deep primal understanding of where you're going and why. You plan things out, you map things out. If you ask your average modern guy, where do you see yourself in 5 or 10 years? Do you know what he'll tell you? I don't know. Or he'll give you some vain, lustful answer like, I want to be in Dubai or in Miami or, sipping margaritas on the beach. Some type of hedonistic, materialistic, individualistic, selfish life. There's no honor, there's nothing about legacy or love or family in them. They're only living for themselves. So you need to assess the goals that you have set for yourself, the life that you have planned out, if you have anything planned out. What is your why? What is your reasoning? Where are you heading and why? What is it that you have to do in your life? Are you living for yourself? Are you glorifying God? What's going on? You need to self-assess. 1 Corinthians 14 verse 40 tells us, in coincidence with this verse, let all things be done decently and in order. Are you living in accordance with God's will, or are you doing your own thing? Something to think about. See, even for the ladies listening, if you get to know a guy and you ask him, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And he says, I don't know. Don't expect to be with him for a few years in a relationship, and then why has he not put a ring on my finger yet? Why is he still in the same place as he was 5 years ago? You need to be with a man on a mission. A man who knows himself very well and where he's heading. A lot of men, because their health is screwed up, because they're so damaged by their childhood and other crap, they're not linear. They're all over the place. They're not logical. They're illogical. They're emotional. They're reactive. They're reactionary to what's going on around them. whereas masculine men carve out a path for themselves and take action. You need to get very clear on a foundational level of where you're heading. One thing I always tell guys, relationship-wise, is a goal you should have, a masculine goal, is to have a wife. Find a good woman and get married. Building a legacy, building a family. There's a reason why in our societies 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, men and women would marry at a young age. Because it would set the men straight. Now you have direction, you have a wife to take care of, you have children coming into the world. You have a reason to provide for them. It's not about you anymore, it's about the family. So that gave guys something linear, a direction that they can focus on. So again, I'm just throwing that out there as an example, but ask yourself, where are you heading and why? If you can't give an answer, you better figure that out. Because if not, that's not a very masculine thing. Even in your career, in your business, you need to keep moving forward in life. Where are you heading? Second quality, second attribute that defines masculinity is a dominant man. This is one that's very well known, but very little understood. Dominance means that a man is assertive, proactive, calm, and collected. What does this mean? Someone assertive is, well, again, all of these values connect. For a man to be dominant, he'd have to be rational. He already knows where he's heading. He has his end goal, and he's working towards it. So because he knows himself well, his strengths and his weaknesses, he's assertive. He's very at peace with who he is. He has a strong identity. He's not easily swayed or deceived or manipulated. He can assert himself. Remember, men lead, women follow. All feminine women crave a dominant guy that's going to lead them, right? How are you going to do that if you're insecure and you don't know what you're doing? If you're in the driver's seat, you're the one who's, your eyes are on the road. When you know where you're going, that's when a woman wants to come into your life. Wow, I'm with a guy. I'm with a real man. He's fun to be around. He knows what he's doing. He's dominant. He grabs life by the balls. He sees an opportunity and he takes it. That's what she wants to see, guys. So when you're assertive, you're optimistic. When you're healthy, you're optimistic. When you know where you're heading, you have a strong why, you move forward in life. You're proactive. Because you know where you're heading, you take action to get you there, or you're trying. You're a doer. A lot of guys are paralysis of analysis, too weak, too cowardly. You have to pull the trigger. You can do all the theory you want, but let your learning lead to you taking action. As Jim Rohn said, that's the guy that educated and mentored Tony Robbins. Let your learning lead to you taking action. If you're learning all the time, but you're not taking any action, all the wisdom that you've accumulated doesn't matter because you haven't applied it to practice. So there's no results, there's no fruit you're bearing from that. So again, a dominant man, he dominates his environment. He's in control of his life because he takes responsibility for it. So he's assertive, he's proactive, and of course he's calm and collected. Why is he going to be nervous? Why is he going to be worried? If you know yourself very well and your intentions are pure, you're going to be so relaxed. Because you're thinking long term, 10 years now, 20 years from now, my career goal, my business goal. Got the wife now, going to have a few kids. Everything's good. I'm planning ahead. Planning for the grandchildren. What legacy can I leave behind to them? Calm and collected. You know where you're heading. Okay? If you leave the house to go to the grocery store, you don't go randomly to the grocery store, do you? You go there because you know there are certain items you need to buy. So why would you be nervous to go to the grocery store? You know why you're going there. But this is how some of you walk through life. I'm using a metaphor, right? But some of you are going through life with big decisions. Why are you studying that degree? I don't know. Why are you dating that girl? Do you want to marry her? Not really. I don't really think she's right for me. What are you doing then? Why are you doing what you're doing? If you're not in control, if you're not even aware of what you're doing and why, you're not a man. You're something else and you need to get snapped back out of it. Okay? You need to synchronize back into you, to masculinity. Are you rational? Are you linear and logical? Are you dominant, assertive, proactive, calm and collected or not? What 1 Corinthians 16:13 says, watch and stand fast in the faith. Be strong. This is Paul speaking. And Paul mentions many times, well, put away childish things. Be a man. Stay firm in your faith. You know what you're doing. Quit acting around. Quit playing around. Be strong. Be strong, be a man. But how can you be strong if you don't know where you're heading? How can you be strong if you don't have a strong why? So again, if you don't feel as a man and you don't know where you're heading, if you're not in tune with that, you better get that figured out. Because if you're not dominant, you will be dominated by others. Someone else's plan for you, someone else's ideas for you. And you need to be following God's plan, which is get married, have children, honor your community, honor the other members of the church, honor your country, and have a product or a service, a job, or something that adds value to the world around you. That's God's plan for you. And some of you men are not following that. You're living a life of broken pieces. And you can't fake this around women. Some men are very abusive. They think dominance is this aggression. I'm going to hit women and I'm going to be angry and scream and shout. That's not dominance. That's a weak, insecure man. I need all this materialism. I'm going to prove them wrong. I need vengeance. I need to get right for the people that wronged me. That's not masculine. Masculine people let go because they just move forward in life. Some people, you're still stuck living in the past. You can't fake that around women. She can see it in your eyes that you're a coward, that you're a pussy, that you don't know where you're heading, that you're this effeminate little boy. A woman wants a strong man who's going to lead her, who's going to protect her. How are you going to do that if you're not dominant? How are you going to do that if she sees you can't even take accountability for your own life? You're not even serious about yourself. You're not even passionate about the life you were given. No one wants to be with a man like that. The next quality that makes a man masculine is interdependence. Oh yeah, this is a big one. See, a lot of men, modern men, are given this selling point from all these coaches and such that masculinity is about being independent. You're the lone wolf. You don't need friends, you don't need a wife, you don't need kids. You're just a lone wolf on a mission. Show me any society that ever thrived where men were just alone on a mission. It doesn't happen. Societies thrive in the same culture, same race, right? Homogeneous societies have always been the most prolific ones in society. Why? Because it stems from a family unit, grows into a larger community of the same culture, same values, same faith, and the men and women keep pouring back into the society, making it better. And those men in those societies weren't independent. They were interdependent on the family, on the community of other men, right, as well. So they kept giving back and it kept growing and expanding. God made men and women to come together. We need each other to grow fruitful and to multiply. You can't do that if you're independent, living on your own, doing your own thing. That is not biblical. Isolationism isn't biblical for those reasons. We are meant to have fellowship because we're social creatures. So this myth that as a man you're this independent, mysterious, solo guy on a quest, that ain't it. But as men, we're not dependent in a way children or a wife would be. We are interdependent. The interesting thing is with men is we would have the ability to be alone if we wanted to and do everything, build, create, because we have the physical strength to do so and to protect ourselves, right? Whereas women and children wouldn't have that agency. But it wouldn't be worth it because doing it for yourself has no merit. Look at all the beautiful culture. I mean, I'm from Europe, so all the stuff that we have here that's been built over the centuries, hundreds of thousands of years, men didn't do it for themselves. They built that for their wives, for their children, for their descendants. All these inventions, all these forms of entertainment, all of these wonderful art and historical structures that were built, that was to honor family, to honor God, to honor the legacy, to honor your bloodlines. Not for foreigners or some randomers. It was to honor the people closest to you that you love. It was all done in love. These men weren't doing it for themselves. Because if there was only men left in the world, guys wouldn't dress up nice. Guys wouldn't have a need to, buy flowers. Who are you going to buy it for? For the other man? No. Men build these wonderful things in society for the women and children they love, for the community, for the grandchildren, right? It's all done outward for love. There's an interdependence there. There's no individualism. There is none. That doesn't work. And that's the poison that Western men have been told in the last 30 years. Go out and be on your own. Figure it out. That is not masculine. Historically, masculine men, they were raised in a family, they found a good woman, they got married, and they lived a life together. But you going off and being an individual, this doesn't work. There used to be a time when men and women, they grow old together, buy the first home together, they'd struggle together, they'd build together. That makes it worthwhile. You doing it on your own as a man, you can do it if you have to do it, some people do, but we're not made for that. I hope that's made very clear. You can do it if you want. You can go off and try being an individual and being independent, but it's going to come at a cost of you being isolated, you wasting your prime years being alone, and it can create a lot of pride. And then learning to readjust and be with other people can be hard. But what we're meant to do is be interdependent, meaning we require assistance, we require help and aid, but we still remain in control, in the sense that as a man, as a husband, as a father, you're still the leader, you're still the head of the home, but you can't do it on your own. You still need your wife, you still need a support from your family, right? Genesis 2:18, it's not good that a man should be alone. God said to Adam, I'll make a helpmeet suitable for him. That was the first biblical term for a wife, a helpmeet, a helper, made to suit his needs, to assist him. When you're a man on a mission, you're dominant, you know where you're heading, and you have this woman in your life now, yes, your job is to obviously lead her. You take the blunt of the responsibility for where everything is heading, but you can't do it all on your own. I can't do it all on my own. Having that amazing woman by my side helps me in many ways. And that's the same blueprint that God has for us men. Guys, you're not meant to be alone. Having a great woman by your side, assisting you, but you're in control. Okay, you're the pilot, she's the co-pilot. Right? You could say. Right? You're in the driver's seat of the car, and she's in the passenger seat to your right. And you ask her to pull out the map or the GPS or to hand you a snack to assist and support you. But you're still responsible for getting her to a safe destination 24/7 because you're the leader. So you have this sense of independence where you're leading, but it's intertwined with your responsibility for the ones you have to take care of, namely your wife and your children, then other members of the body of Christ, the church, your community, your country, and it all honors God. Ecclesiastes 4:9 verse 10 says, two are better than one, because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, one will lift up his fellow, but woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he had not another to help him up. That's why it's so good for young boys to play sports, to build up their self-esteem, being around other boys, play fighting. This is essential. Challenge, adversity makes a man grow. But ultimately, responsibility and duty is what really sharpens him up. And you boys growing up, I see a lot of young modern men that they don't want a wife, they don't want a family, but then they're turning to pornography, they're turning to masturbation, they're bitter, they're incels, they're sexually frustrated. We're not made for that. You're made to be with a wife. You're made to be with a woman by your side. There's no greater love or glory than that. In fact, biblically speaking, you're not even considered a real man or a leader unless you have a wife or kids. How can you lead a community or a church, for example, as Paul states, if you can't even have a wife or kids, a proper home in order? That's the ultimate test of masculinity, is it not? Marriage maketh the man, as the old saying goes. So again, this whole idea that you're an individual, a lone wolf, doing it on your own, it's just a lot of men with a knowledge gap that are running away from their responsibility because they don't know what they're doing. And they're too prideful to ask for help. Thinking you can do it all on your own is ridiculous. No one, even people that are self-made, successful business owners, entrepreneurs, or some of the most successful men in history, they didn't do it all on their own. They still needed other people to help them. And God said it from the beginning, it's not good that a man should be alone, gentlemen. I'll make a helpmeet suitable for him. You need a wife, you need a woman by your side. You need good, strong friends by your side as well. But I will definitely say from personal experience, having a great woman by your side, the intimate friendship you get from the woman that you love, that loves you back, it's incomparable. Yes, below that level you have friends, but that wife comes first. And I'm telling you, when you have a good, godly woman, it really, it's the salt on top, right? It's the cherry on top. Nothing like it. Nothing can compare. And that's, God says that right at the beginning in Genesis. He says it's not good that you should be alone. Have a group of buddies No. He says have a wife. That's your companion for life. That's who you need for your assistance. Because the base unit of society is the family. And the family is made up of husband, wife, children. You can't have kids with your male friends, can you now, guys? You can have your buddies, you can love them and honor them. You can have them as a brotherhood and a community, but your wife comes first. And a lot of modern men get this wrong. They're going to put their friends, they'll put even their kids above their wife. God first, wife second. I'll link a video I made about biblical manhood, about the principles of this down below. But again, interdependence. I hope I've made this really clear. The verse here in Ecclesiastes makes it even clearer too. Two are better than one. You're not meant to do it all on your own. So if you're huffing and puffing, I'm in a strong, independent, individual guy, I don't need anyone by my side. I'm going to be successful and do it alone, then I'll get a woman later on. Good luck finding that gold digger. When you could be having a great woman by your side now, when you're building yourself up as a man, during your best years when you're young. You choose which one you want to do. Don't waste that. So interdependence. You still remain in the driver's seat, but you do require assistance. It's meant to humble you, gentlemen. The next is masculine men are goal-oriented. This equals to you being duty, achievement, and accomplishment-oriented. As men, physically, look at our bodies, right? We're meant to penetrate a woman when we're hard, you could say. Excuse my French for that vivid description, but it's amazing how God designed our physiognomy. A woman's body is meant to be penetrated because feminine women, they're penetrated, you could say, emotionally by everything happening in their environments. They're reactive, they're responsive to that. It affects them deeply. Whereas us men, we affect what happens in our environment. We build, we create, we can make war, we can make peace. We can establish boundaries in nations. That's masculinity. Laying our life on the line, sacrificing, going all out. That challenge, that adversity, that mission, right? Dying a hero, that's masculinity. And it's that drive that comes from that testosterone to just put yourself out there to procreate, that risk taking. That's masculinity. That's not feminine. That's masculine. And look at our bodies. We're physically designed to penetrate a woman. So it also correlates with how we are meant to kind of, in a righteous way, penetrate those around us, leave an impact, give back to the community with our work, with our job, with our business, with our product, with our service, with our intellect, with our love, to help the needy, help the sick, help the less fortunate, help those under our responsibility, under our yoke, to steward the animals and take care of them, to watch over our community. Like, that's masculinity. And that it's an outward expansion. That's drive. That's penetration. That's masculinity, guys. So again, if you feel like you're not goal-oriented, check your testosterone, because you should be. And a lot of young guys, they've given up. I hear a lot of comments recently in my last videos. I don't want to have kids. I can't find a good woman. I'm going to give up. Very pessimistic incels. And it's like, hey, if you want your bloodline to die out, bye. Because the people that don't have children, the people that are godless, the people that marry the wrong person, all of your genes are going to be wiped away. And it's only the intelligent people with good morals that do it the right way are going to have a legacy. And there's no success without succession. If you don't have descendants and heirs, you could say, there is no real success. There's no one to pass down your wealth to, and your bloodline, gone. So a lot of the genetic trash is taking itself out with the mindset they have, unfortunately. But it doesn't have to be you listening. Raise your standards. Set some goals. We live in a strange time period, but you know what? There's been worse times, and there'll be worse ones to come. All we have is the time we're in right now. Take action on it. Play with the cards you've been dealt. There's amazing opportunities out there. Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. What is your duty? What is your job? What is your goal? What do you want to achieve and why? What are you accomplishing in your life? And again, are you doing it for family, for your future generations, for your community, or is it about you? Because the intentions there are very different. Luke 14, verse 20-30 on screen says, "For which of you, intending to build a tower, sitteth not down first and counteth the cost, whether he have sufficient to finish it, lest haply after he hath laid the foundation and is not able to finish it, all that behold it begin to mock him, saying, This man began to build and was not able to finish. Very interesting verse. Let me break it down. If you're going to do something big, or anything really, count the cost. You are going to make an expensive purchase. Can you afford it? Yes, perfect. No? Oh, hold on. You want to build something. Do you have the necessary materials? Do you have the legal paperwork and the permits to do so? Yes, perfect. If not, hold back. This is what it's telling you. Think before you do things. If you set yourself a goal, is it achievable? What makes you think you can achieve it? What can get you there? Because there's a lot of guys out there, they're dreamers and they don't take any action. Okay, an idea, a dream is just a dream. If you don't put it into pen and paper and you take action, it's not a goal. Count the cost. The example it's giving here is, if any of you want to build something, in this case, you want to build a tower, do you not sit down first and count the cost? Do you have enough to finish it? Some of you guys, oh yeah, I want to achieve X, Y, Z. You check on the guy, you check in on the dude 2 years later, he's at the same place where he started. You're not serious. They call them entrepreneurs, not entrepreneurs, right? They like the idea of it, but they don't actually like doing it. And actions speak louder than words. And then it gives you an example as well, saying that even if a guy started to do something but didn't finish, people pay notice to that. If you say you're going to do something and you don't follow through, you ain't a man of your word. So some of you aren't masculine. How many times in relationships do men let down their wives or their girlfriends? Yeah, honey, I'll take you out. Yeah, honey, we'll do this. Yeah, honey, we'll do that. Yeah, I'll spend time with you, honey. And they're neglecting their wife. They're not courting her. They're not romancing her. They're not spending quality time. They make empty promises. How many of you have had memories of your father? Yes, son, we'll do this. Yes, son, we'll go there. Never happened. And you still don't forget after all these years. See, we remember how things make us feel, because emotion with memory is retained forever, leaves an impact. All that matters is people remember how you make them feel and the impact it left. So if you aren't serious about your goals and you're not taking action on that, how is a woman going to trust you? How are your kids going to trust you? Start by keeping your word. You say you're going to build something, you say you're going to do something, do it. Even if you do it eventually, get it done. If you're uncertain about something, don't do it. Don't say it. Don't tell everybody your business. Okay? But again, you should be goal-oriented as a man. This is masculinity 101. The next sign, the next quality of masculinity is that a man's competitive. This means that you have the ability to sharpen your skills and improve your abilities or talents. This is just a wonderful thing. Masculinity grows through challenge. I mean, everybody knows this. But I'm not talking about being competitive in the sense of you wish to step on others, you think you're better than other people. No, that's not competitive. That's insecurity. When I mean competitive, I mean growth-oriented. Because you're competing against the man in the mirror. You're trying to be better than you were 6 weeks ago, 6 months ago, 6 years ago. What have I learned? Because the better man you are, the better you are for everybody around you in your life. Friends, family, business associates, clients, customers, co-workers. You're a better asset to society. And you honor God even more. This is why laziness is a sin. You have talents, you have amazing abilities, but you're not doing anything with them. You could have maybe made a cure for cancer. I'm sure there is, but they hide them, right? Maybe you have the ability to make a cure for cancer, but you're just lazy and you're sitting on arms folded and you could have saved lives, but you didn't. You were lazy. Some of you have amazing talent. Some of you gentlemen are very intelligent. You could be wonderful assets to your country, your community, your family, but your testosterone's too low. You've given up on life. You're hedonistic. You're selfish. You're vain, but ultimately you're lazy. So you just, why would I bother? You don't even want to try. You know? So again, one side of masculinity is that you are constantly sharpening and improving your craft. Look at the best football players, the best athletes. They're constantly practicing the basics, the fundamentals. The best chefs, right? Gordon Ramsay, they do the basics. They know it off by heart. Repetition is the mother of skill. Sharpening their skills, improving their abilities or talents. This is for anything, even in your marriage or your relationship. Improving your communication skill by communicating more, putting yourself out there more, doing more of what you find difficult, getting out of your comfort zone, pushing your boundaries or barriers so you break through. That's masculinity. It all connects again, doesn't it? Doesn't that connect to being goal-oriented, achievement, and duty? Doesn't that connect to you being interdependent? Doesn't that connect to you being dominant and rational? Starts to add up, doesn't it? So again, that's you being competitive. Timothy 2:15 says in Scripture, study to show yourself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. Being a masculine man, you need to know right from wrong, good from evil, truth from lie. And the measure of a man is how much truth he can tolerate. And if he can't take it all, he's not a man. How can you properly lead if you live in a lie? So guys, you need to have a lot of self-awareness for you to sharpen your skills, because it takes humility. You need to be able to assess yourself and say, right, I'm skinny, or I'm overweight, I'm struggling here. My wife's been nagging me, or my girlfriend's been going on about this for 3 months. She's probably right. My friends keep pointing out this thing I keep doing. Maybe I should listen to that flaw. Maybe I should work on that. Let me fine tune, let me tweak. That's growth. That's humility. Okay? The next step here would be, the next characteristic of masculinity is, are you direct? Are you direct? Very simple. What is being direct? As a man, you are decisive. Your communication is overt, meaning it's outwardly directed. And it's upfront communication. So many of you men don't know how to communicate. You know why? Because you didn't see your father communicate properly, like a man. Your mother was running the show. Or maybe you didn't have that. Maybe it was abusive. Whatever. So most people are going off of the blueprint of what they had when they were younger. What they saw mum and dad's dysfunctional marriage was. And that's what they emulate in their older years. They never grow out of that. And self-esteem is primarily built in your childhood. How do you rebuild or fix your self-esteem as an adult? Environment. Hang around people that are at where you want to be. That's where mentorship comes in. Okay? You want to be a millionaire? Hang around 5 millionaires. You'll be the 6th. You want to be a retard? Hang around 5 silly people. You'll be retard number 6. Okay? If you hang around 6 guys that are in amazing shape at the gym and they're health freaks, they're going to push you out of your comfort zone until you're healthy like them. Because influence, it rubs off. They bring you to their level. Okay? They press you. They mold you. Okay? Diamonds are made under pressure, right? So this is really important stuff. They challenge you. They stimulate you, right? They push you to another level. So again, if you have low self-esteem, going back to mum and dad who ain't going to change now isn't going to fix it. You need to move forward. If you would like to communicate better, find someone who's an excellent communicator and spend time around them and ask them for help, and adopt their habits and mannerisms over time by association and close proximity. That's what mentorship does. If you want to be the best sword fighter in the world, go train with the best sword fighter. You want to be an amazing boxer, go be coached by Mike Tyson. Like, it's common sense. But go where those people have already succeeded in where you're lacking and learn from them. Immerse yourself. And they learn. That's why with my clients that join my relationship mastery and immerse themselves and they follow what I teach to the T, they walk out with an amazing woman on their arm, the love of their life. They're getting engaged, they're getting married. Because they follow it to the T. They follow my blueprint. Because they have close proximity to me in my coaching and my mentorship. So again, part of you being a man is being direct. Are you decisive? Or are you indecisive? Oh, I can't say that. You don't trust your own decisions because you've got low self-esteem. Or do you own your decisions because you're dominant? Yep. I say yes, I say no, these are my decisions. What does Matthew 5:37 say on the screen? But let your communication, and this is Christ speaking, let your communication be yea, yea, or nay, nay. Yes, yes, or no, no. For whatsoever is more than this cometh of evil. You don't want to be a maybe guy. And you don't want to be a liar and say yes when you mean no, or say no when you mean yes. Let your yes be yes and no, no. Be honest. So part of you being masculine, if you're leading, is that you have to be a decisive man. You have to make hard choices. There's never an easy time to make hard choices. Just make them. Be open in your communication, extended, and say, yes, this is what I mean, no. And you stand on it. You have your boundaries, you have your standards, you have your deal breakers and your principles, and you're locked in. Because a man is known by his standards, and he does not compromise on them. The way you communicate, if a woman disrespects you, you call her out. If a friend or a family member disrespects you, you call them out. If you're not happy with something, you say what's on your mind. If you don't like how you're being treated, you communicate that. If you are proud and you're happy of someone, or you want to give love to them, give it. But your yes is yes and your no is no. So many men will change their opinions or their values, or they dilly-daddle, or they're too afraid to own what they really think and feel, because they're afraid of what other people will think of them. But when you fear God, which is masculinity 101, you respect the big man upstairs. You understand what he wants you to do. You follow his principles, you follow his guidelines. So you are very firm on your values. You're black and white on that. There's no maybe. There's no I'm unsure. I'm going to be covert with my communication because I can't speak to people directly. Screw that. You are upfront. You're direct. Wasn't Christ flipping over all the tables when all the money lenders and the Pharisees were ripping off everybody in the synagogues? Yeah. So there's a lesson in that. There's such a thing as righteous anger. There's such a thing as righteous jealousy. If someone is crossing you or mistreating you or abusing you, you can stand up for yourself and defend yourself with love, but with firmness and truth. If you want to say something to someone or get something off your chest, you better do it. Because so many of these young guys nowadays, they're keeping up all their emotions inside and they don't communicate. And it comes out in ugly ways. Through toxic habits, they're pessimistic, they lose themselves in all sorts of addictions, they numb themselves with pleasure and vanity, all because they don't want to be direct. They don't want to be confrontational and say the truth. So they're weak and cowardly. So in all seriousness, you have to really take a mental note, take a snapshot of your life. Ask yourself, are you direct with people around you? Or are you too afraid to give your opinion because, goodness forbid, you might offend someone? I am shocked to see how soft people have become. When I was growing up, it wasn't like that. People said what they wanted, people said what they felt. Now you've got the thought police on your case. If you think the wrong opinion, they can fine you, arrest you, ban you, block you, censor you. Something isn't right. And the men are so weak and they allow this to happen. Makes me sick. So ask yourself, are you direct or are you indirect? Are you passive? Too afraid to ask that girl out? Too afraid to say what's on your heart? Look at people on their deathbeds. Google that if you want after this video. Top regrets of people on their deathbeds. You know what they always say? I wish I would have taken more risk. I wish I would have said I love you more to the ones I care about. I wish I would have forgiven those that I had a grudge on. I wish I could speak to my mother or father one last time and tell them what I truly felt. It's all regrets. Do you know why? Because they weren't direct enough. These men weren't decisive enough in their lives. They didn't take ownership. They didn't wear their heart on their sleeve. They live a fake life, saying one thing and meaning another. But Christ gave us the principle here. Matthew 5:37. Let your communication be yes for yes and no, no. Say what you mean and mean what you say. We've all heard the saying. Now just apply. So that's directness. That's you being direct as a man. That's another quality. The next one is you being protective. That's masculinity 101, right? Lead, protect, provide. They're written here. So provide, protective. This means that you are able to protect, starting with yourself, of course, in a physical and emotional level, through physical and emotional strength. This is what it equals to. This is how you measure it. Physical strength, obviously you being, having good androgens, being strong, being able to defend yourself in a street fight. If you can't even pick up your wife and carry her or bench press her, you have a problem, right? There's like basic things like that you want to get sorted. So physical strength is very attractive to women, and to us men, it's a sign of prowess. It's a sign of discipline. It's a sign of consistency, of true honor, especially if you built it up naturally and maintained it naturally. Wow, now that's impressive, right? Because you're walking proof that you keep your word, that you're disciplined, right? So a masculine man, he protects the ones he loves. He protects himself. And if you're physically strong, you can protect her. You can protect your kids. But again, this also goes beyond protecting that's physical, and it becomes emotional. You can protect your wife from danger physically, but are you protecting her emotionally? From sin, from degeneracy, from bad friends, from bad influence, from spiritual wickedness, from evil influence, from the corrupt media, from propaganda. You need to know truth. You need to understand what's going on in the world, why it's happening, who the elites are, who the enemy is, all the lies they've been sprinkling. Because if you don't know right from wrong, truth from lie, how can you protect your wife and kids? How can you properly guide them? You can't. You may protect them physically, but are you protecting your sons from pornography? Are you protecting your daughters from romance novels and 50 Shades of Grey? Are you protecting your daughters from falling for plastic surgery or being influenced by degeneracy? Are you protecting your sons from like Andrew Tate and all these self-improvement gurus? Are you protecting your sons and daughters from feminism? Are you protecting your sons and daughters from atheism? Are you protecting your sons and daughters from alcohol and drugs? Are you warning them? Are you guiding them? Right? See, protection, and this takes emotional strength. And emotional strength is going to come from you having made those hard choices. You having very firm values. Are you direct? See how it connects? If you're not decisive and you don't have good communication, you don't have strong emotional strength. If you haven't sharpened any skills or been humble enough to improve your talents, how are you going to have emotional strength? If you haven't achieved anything worthwhile, honorable, there's no emotional strength. If you're not assertive, taking action, you're not calm and collective, you don't have emotional strength, you're all over the place. And obviously, if you're all over the place, multi-directional, changing your mind every 5 minutes, and you're emotional instead of logical, you don't have emotional strength. So again, it all connects. Psalms 18:2 says, "The Lord is my rock, my fortress, and my deliverer, my God and my strength, in whom I will trust, my buckler and the horn of my salvation, and my high tower." Gentlemen, you need to be right with the Lord if you're going to lead a family, because you need Christ to be your pillar. Once you understand right from wrong, and you have your values locked in, you will have the emotional strength to say what you need to say, to do what needs to be done, to protect your family, to protect yourself, to protect the weak and the innocent and the needy. And it's not just a physical thing. A lot of guys are in the gym for just vanity reasons, right? Oh, I'm working off because I'm going to prove her wrong. If they want to get over some ex like a weeko. Screw that. Okay? You should be getting physically strong for your wife and kids. You should be getting physically strong because you're grateful for the body God has given you. Oh yeah. Be a good example for your sons and daughters. Be more attractive for your wife. Protect them. And have the emotional fortitude to lead them, to guide them, to protect them from degeneracy. Some of you guys will have a woman and she'll be doing something wrong and you're too afraid to set a standard and tell her what she shouldn't be doing. Women want male leadership. Women find it attractive when you guide them. If, of course, you were the woman that actually finds you attractive and has good morals. You're meant to guide them. Okay? Patriarchy means rule by fathers. And it's as a man's duty to protect his wife and kids. So that's protection. Then we get into leadership, which translates to you being direct and courageous. Are you? Being a leader means to take the first step, right? Lead by example. This ties into the other one, so being direct, we've already covered that, and courageous. If you've never done something before, there's no confidence. It's just courage. Balls. Really. Risk. Sacrifice. That's all it is. So being a leader in the context of your relationships, the woman you're with, your children. Guys, how many of you watching this video could never look up to your father? A lot of guys can't and didn't. Why? Because you probably saw your father being spoken down to by your mother, or they had a miserable marriage, or the dad's overweight, or he's never home, or he's effeminate, or he's drunk, or he's a cheater. And you see all these things with your father and you're like, I can't trust this guy. You have to be a perfect example. You have to be spotless and blameless. For you to be a leader, you have to be a spotless example of what leadership is. But when you keep your word, when you are who you say you are, when you are firm yet just, when you love your wife well, when you understand yourself, you know where you're heading, and you just guide your family to where you want them to be, you're doing your duty, leadership is really easy. Really easy. Joshua 1:9 says, have not I commanded thee? Be strong and of a good courage. Be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed. For the Lord thy God is with thee, whithersoever thou goest. When bad things happen in your life, do you start breaking down and being insecure? Or you're like, it's difficult, but you know what, honey? Because you're a dominant guy, you can't be collected. I got it. I'll find a way through. Your woman, your wife, guys, your future wife wants to look up to you and see a leader. She wants to see a man that she can admire. A man who's admired by other men. A man who's respected by his peers. A man that other guys speak highly of. Your reputation precedes you. That's the sort of man she wants to be with. A man that can guide her, correct her, teach her right from wrong. You have to be well read. You have to understand and be knowledgeable on things. So you can, as the leader, give your wife duties, give your wife little things to do so she can assist you. She's made for that. Women love that, guys. So she wants to see you lead. Instruct, guide, teach, provide. Be an example, be a standard, set the tone. The man sets the tone of the relationship. Starts with you. Okay? Every woman wants to be treated like a queen, but hey, you're the king. So, in that sense, it's your kingdom. You need to be treated as such. But you need to act like a king. You need to behave like one. Guys, I can't say it any other way. If you're not doing anything with your life, if you're just a lazy bum, your wife isn't going to follow your lead. How can she follow your lead if you're disingenuine? Your words and actions don't align. You're not who you say you are. You let yourself go. You have to be on top of your game. That's what women want. They want a real man, a masculine guy who knows himself well enough, who's truthful and honest, right? Who's humble. So again, when things go hard, she wants to be able to turn to you and see, how does he handle things? How does he handle difficulty? How does he handle challenge? And when she sees you push through, she wants to be your cheerleader. She wants to see you be that hero that achieves, that builds, that does good. That's the man she wants to follow. Be a leader. Finally, lead, protect, provide. We get to provide. Very simple. Provide means you're self-sufficient, self-reliant, and trustworthy. That simple. 1 Timothy 5 verse 8 says, but if any man not provide for his own, and especially for those of his own house, he has denied the faith and is worse than an infidel. Translation, if as a man you don't provide for your own family, you might as well be an unbeliever. And a lot of guys will use this verse and think it only means providing financially. Let me let you in on a little secret. There are multi-millionaires and billionaires whose wife and kids don't respect them because they are terrible husbands and fathers. And you might be thinking, but Christian, the guy's bringing in 7, 8, 9 figures a year. How is he possibly a bad father or a husband? Because providing financially isn't the only metric which makes a man a man. If that's the case, any guy who earns an income would be a successful husband or father. Doesn't make you much of a man. It doesn't. You see all these wealthy, look at Jeff Bezos, billionaire, owner of Amazon, married some gold digger who doesn't even find him attractive. All the money in the world doesn't compensate for real, genuine desire, does it? Think. Provision isn't just financial. You could be a guy making minimum wage, maybe have a few side hustles, maybe have some assets, and you're building yourself up. And you can be a better leader if you look well to the spiritual ways of your wife and kids, and you're emotionally available to them, and you are present with them and you guide them and you spend quality time with them, you will be a much better husband and father and a provider, because you're providing what they need emotionally, love and connection, safety and security, than if you were to be the guy but making millions a year, but you're never home, you're always on business trips. Enough said. So again, yes, you want to find a way to make good money, and most men do not financially peak till the 30s or 40s, but gentlemen, your prime is in your 18 to 25. When you're a young, handsome guy, this is when you should be finding a good woman and growing when you're young. And you will find a way to make the money because of the love you have for your family. And she's with you by your side. You both get to build together. She gets to see you push through those challenges. She gets to look up and admire you more, see how you handle it. Be the hero. Don't be the guy who's got his life sorted financially and then now he wants to find a woman. You'll find a gold digger. Okay, let me put it that way. But again, providing isn't just financial. It's providing what they need emotionally and spiritually. You can make amazing money, but how many of you have had fathers that provided financially, but then your father didn't teach you what to do, how to be a husband? He didn't teach you about taxes. I don't know. He didn't teach you how to work out. He didn't teach you how to stay away from bad women. He didn't guide you or instruct you with things that actually mattered, that you wanted to know. You had to turn to the internet, or like this video, or other venues to learn, because your father failed as a father and a husband to your wife, to his wife as well. This is what I'm talking about. So yes, provision, a lot of people misread the verse. It's not just this. It's about the actual needs. Do you actually care about your family? And again, there's a lot of wealthy guys out there. They don't care about their wife or kids. They have a mistress on the side. They're living their life. That's not a very masculine thing to do. Oh, but they're providing financially, right? The kids have inherited a lot of money. They have assets, right? Doesn't matter. You hear stories of people growing up very wealthy, and they will walk away remembering that dad was never there, or dad wasn't a good man, even though and the parents try to come back with the money. Kids doesn't care. Children care how you make them feel. And you could be a poor father making minimum wage, but if you're present with your kids and you go to all their football games and you go to all of your daughter's dance classes and you romance your wife and you spin her around, make passionate love to her and take her on fun dates, write her a little love note, buy her flowers, hold her hand, look her in the eyes and tell her how much you love her and how amazing she is, and you do that consistently, those are the memories that will make them love and respect you even more because you're there with them. Okay? That's what matters the most. That's it. If you can make more money, great. But gentlemen, this is masculinity. It's not just, oh, I've made all the money. Great. But are you there with your wife? Do you actually romance your girl? Are you actually engaged with her truly? Are you present with her? Or are you disconnected worrying about work or something else? Are you truly spending quality time? Are you romancing her? Are you both really in love? Are you meeting her needs? Truly. Are you up to date emotionally with how everything's running in the home? How are your kids doing? So many people are suicidal nowadays, the parents can't even tell because they don't bother to tell much how their children are going. Are you observing who your children are spending time with? Are you stewarding your household? Who is that new lady that's come to town that's having coffee with your wife? Is she misleading her? Is she a psycho-feminist? What's her deal? Oh, your kids are going to a friend's house. What do you know about the parents? You don't know if there's a gun in the house there, if there's drugs there. What's happening with your kids? How are their grades going at school? What are they teaching them at school? What are they learning? Are they being bullied? Is everything okay? You have to be stewarding your household. The real job as a husband and father starts when you get home. How's everything going? Oh, your wife's been a little bit quiet for the last few weeks. Are you just going to keep sipping on your beer and watch the game? Or are you going to sit down, baby, what's going on? Tell me what's happening and see what the problem is. You know, something's wrong with your kids. You just, oh, well, they're going to school. The school raises them. No. What's going on here? Men have lost their way. So you need to provide that emotional strength of you. Part of you protecting and leading them is you're providing that security, that safety of they can come to you because you first come to them. You go to them. Tell me everything. And you're on top of it. You're on top of your game. That's how you're supposed to be as a husband and father. Gentlemen, even for you guys, single guys, I'm preparing for that now, right? Like, that's what you want to be doing when you start having kids. Because that's the next step for me, right? And it's like, you have to be prepared for this stuff. Now, this is really important. It's not just about this. It's about this and it's about this. Your kids need you to be present with them. Your wife needs you to be present with them. Anyways, those are the 9 traits, 9 attributes, right? The qualities of masculinity. And bonus, to end the video, how can you tell if you're masculine? Simple. 2 things. Number 1, masculinity is stimulated through challenge, adversity, and courage. If you go out of your comfort zone and do things that are hard, that courage will then become confidence. If you do things that are difficult, that really push you and challenge you, you're going to become out wiser, humble, more confident. Again, like you'll be more dominant, and you'll learn more about yourself. You're going to be a better man. That makes you more masculine. And how can you tell if you're masculine in your relationships, your friends, your family, your wife, your kids, the people close to you? When you're masculine, you will receive respect and admiration from those close to you. If people are walking all over you, disrespecting you, they're not, you're the woman in your life and not looking up to you as the hero, you're slacking somewhere. It can be the exception that you married the wrong woman, if that's the case. Yeah, you married a woman that settled for you, she's never going to admire you. But if you were the good woman and you've lost your touch, gentlemen, take that as a warning sign, because that's live feedback from your environment. Because your wife and kids are going to be the ones closest to you, who see you 24/7 away from the public eye. They know what you're really like. And if she ain't respecting or admiring you, your kids don't respect and admire you, your friends don't respect and admire you, you get new friends or you're messing up. And oftentimes it's you. Okay? So just keep that as a metric to be aware of. If you're not being admired by your girl, if you're not really being respected by her, you're screwing up. Time to fix it. And if you are being respected and admired, keep doing what you're doing. Most guys that actually have successful marriages and relationships do this unknowingly. But a lot of guys have a knowledge gap because most guys come from a broken home. But regardless, I do hope this video has helped. I know it's been a long one, but there's a lot of lessons I've had to put together in this one. So that is masculinity 101. These are the attributes that define masculinity. And it's something you can apply to make your life better. So gentlemen, if you'd like to get my help personally and like to learn more about what I do, you can check out my relationship community. It's only $5 a month, link down below in the description. And if you'd like to get my mentorship and work with me one-on-one, you can apply to my relationship mastery course and book a free call with me, link down below on the website. With that said, hope you'll have a wonderful day. God bless all of you and your families.